Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Car Boss, where we talk about the business of automotive dealership. Welcome back, Commander.
Morning, Taj. Namaskar to everyone.
Commander, our topic of discussion today is a continuation of the last episode, where we discussed how to achieve consistent revenue from after sales operations. Our second question on this topic is how do you ensure customer retention in a competitive environment?
Right. I think we just need to go back to our previous episode where I mentioned about the three reasons, the most important reasons as to why customers don't return back to the dealerships for the service, the kind of attrition that is taking place. And we talked about three reasons. First was in terms of trust and confidence in the dealership. Number two was the quality of service. And the third was a lack of connect with the customers over a long period of time. So let's look at these three reasons and see how we can address these concerns and ensure customers are not lost. Now, before I delve into this more, if you remember or recall one of the first episodes that we had, and I talked about that how in a dealership, the service advisors have become the most important segment of people who drive the growth of the dealership.
True.
The service advisors. Now, why I mentioned this is about the fact that how much they contribute in terms of the growth and sustainability of the dealership. Now, if you do not have highly trained, professionally trained service advisors, then anything else that we have to talk about today's session will be meaningless. So the first and foremost is to ensure that we have the right quality of service advisors, recruited into the system, trained in soft skills, trained in processes, and trained in technical matters. These three areas, they have to be trained and they have to be competent. That becomes a basis of how we can address all the concerns that we have. So service advisors have to be the best. If that is not there, whatever I'm going to be talking about is going to be meaningless.
Pointless. Yeah.
So let us assume that the dealerships are very focused on getting the right quality of service advisors and train them the way that we have discussed in our earlier episodes. So once that is done, let us come to the first reason as to why customers don't come back. That is about lack of trust and confidence in the dealership. Now, if you have service advisors who are trained, they're trained very well in terms of soft skills, trained in terms of technical expertise, trained in terms of processes. Now, what happens if you have such a bunch of service advisors? Their dealings with customers will be so professional. Like from the time they meet the customer, understanding their problems, ensuring that they capture the problems in the right way, explain to the customers the costing of the repairs, committing a delivery schedule. And when the customer comes back, the car is ready with all the concerns that the customer has raised, been resolved. The billing explained, the car is shown to the customer, taken for a test drive, and delivered. Now, this completes the entire cycle of after sales operation, done in a very professional manner. Now, imagine if this is done properly with the right kind of soft skills. Any customer would be happy and say, look, I'm very happy with this dealership. These boys have done an excellent job. Very wonderful people to deal with, very polite, very understanding, very, very compassionate. Now, this is what makes a customer feel that, look, this is the dealership I want to stay with because I have trust in them, I have confidence. So first thing is to make sure that you have the right quality of service advisors, trained in soft skills, trained technically, and the processes. The first part of the problem is resolved.
True.
The second is in terms of the quality. Now, quality of service is something that happens in the shop. So you need to make sure that you have technicians trained as per what the OEMs demand. They must have different levels of expertise, skills, because you cannot just have only junior technicians and not having technicians who can do diagnosis and do major repairs. So the floor must have a complete skill set available to ensure that the customer needs are addressed. So very important to have the right quality of technicians, plus the processes must be very robust. When I say the processes must be the way the issues are addressed by the dealership, customer concerns, the way repairs are carried out by the right process, the way the final inspection is done, the way test drives are carried out. Now, all this must be done in the right manner. If you ensure that this is done correctly, then the quality of service is absolutely top line. You will not have an issue. You will not have an issue where customer goes back and comes back with the same problem after 2 days. So very important is to ensure that technicians are trained well, the processes are followed. You find the quality of service. So the second concern is also addressed. Now comes to the third part, which is the long-term disconnect between customers and the dealership because of the fact that the service interval is 1 year. Now, this is a very, very tricky issue because customers normally tend to forget after 1 year. But I think this needs to be done in a very systematic manner so that, because if it's not addressed, irrespective of the fact that the confidence and trust is there, quality of service, customers may forget whom he dealt with. And when it comes to service, he'll say, look, I've forgotten who is the man who I dealt with. Oh, let me go to any other service center.
True.
So what has to be done to make sure that this connect is maintained? The first and the foremost is the service advisors, before delivering the car to the customers, must ensure that the customer has his contact details, including his photograph in his mobile phone. Now, many times customers say, no, I will take it later, I will do that. No, this must be something that the service advisor must ensure. Now, why I say even the photograph? Because when he gets a call from the service advisor, he knows, oh, I remember this guy.
True.
There's a record of the service advisor. Now, this must get done before the customer collects the car and goes. Also, at the time of delivery of the car, the service advisor must inform the customer, sir, you have my contact details. I'm available to you 24/7. Any issue you have with the car, just call me up. Now, that's a great assurance to the customer. He said, wow, I don't have to worry. There is something, I call this guy up, he will take care of my car.
True.
This must be told at the time of delivery. Another thing that you need to inform the customer is, please tell him, sir, you're going to come back to me for service after 1 year. This is a very long time. There's a long gap. Yeah. Would that be all right if I call you up after 6 months to find out how your car is doing?
True.
I can tell you one thing. No customer is going to say, no, don't call me up.
Yes.
True. He'll be more than happy to say, yeah, fine, please do call me up. So that 6-month call is something to break the monotony of that 1 year.
True.
You make a call at 6 months, find out how the car is doing, everything fine. Tell him, sir, great. I look forward to you coming another 6 months for your normal service. I'll be available to you.
Yeah. You can bridge the 1 year gap.
The bridge. And to go further, to ensure that there is something more that you do to stay connected. I would think that the service advisors should stay connected through some WhatsApp messages. Now, this is without troubling the customers. Now, all of us are aware that we normally share service technical advisories with the customers. OEMs or sometimes the dealerships send, technical advisories. It could be something like, during the rainy season, how to navigate through flooded waters, how to ensure that, you don't get into a problem while going through flooded roads. How to make sure that you have your AC working very well during summer season, or how to ensure that the puncture for a tubeless tire is done the right way. Now, these are all information for a customer which can be extremely useful, and they are not, something which is going to be bothering or taking away his time. Now, normally this goes from the OEMs or from the dealerships. My suggestion is send these advisories from with the service advisor's mobile.
Okay.
Because when it goes to the customer, say, oh, good, my service advisor sent me this advice. Very good. Very interesting thing that he has sent across. Now, I'm not saying send it every day. Maybe during this course of 1 year, once in a quarter, once in 4 months, send an advisory to. This sort of, reminds the customer, look, my service advisory.
True.
It can be a great, what you call a force multiplier in terms of customer connect. Because once you get a message, it is not, sort of intimidating to the customers. He can read it at his own time, but he says, oh, my service advisor sent me this message. So I think if you can do these three things, one is in terms of ensuring that, all the processes are done by the service advisors, the quality of work is done well, and then in staying connected with the customers by ensuring that the The service advisors details are available to the customers. You make those calls in the 6 month, send those advisories, and when the final time comes for the next service, not only does the call center make those calls, the service advisor can also make a reminder.
Right.
Now, it makes a lot of difference because the call going from the call center versus the service advisor making a call is hugely different. It has got more impact when the service advisor calls up and says, "Sir, I'm waiting for your car. When are you going to come?" So I think all this concern that we have as to why we are losing customers can be addressed by these three simple measures of the service advisors being of the right quality, the technicians of the right quality, and those steps that we mentioned about how to stay connected during this 1 year. Now, if these three things are addressed, these things that we discussed, I am sure that we may lose 10% customers, but we'll make up much more from other customers coming back to us.
True.
So I don't think there would be a drop in customers coming for service if we address the concern that we already have.
Right.
So I think if this is not done, definitely I think if you're going to lose 40 and 50% customers to service, we are going to be definitely in trouble. So I think it's a very simple solution. No investments required. It's all about an attitude. It's about a focus on how we are going to get these things done.
So there you have the answer to this team. Stay tuned, like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. And we will see you in the next one.
Thank you, Taj. Namaskar.